Today is August 24th, 2020, the day that marks the 25th anniversary of Windows 95's launch back in 1995. And to celebrate, we're going to be installing it on my newly acquired Packard Bell Legend. But before we get to that, let's talk a little about the operating system itself. Windows 95 was a groundbreaking release of Microsoft's flagship operating system. It introduced new UI elements that were designed to make the OS much easier to learn and use than Windows 3.1. Things like the Start menu, Taskbar, and Windows Explorer, all of which are still essential parts of modern versions of Windows. Microsoft knew that Windows 95 was going to change the way people used computers, and they were betting on its success. They spent around $300 million to promote and advertise the OS worldwide. And after the highly publicized launch event featuring Jay Leno, Microsoft sold around 1 million copies of Windows 95 in the first 4 days of it being available. It's clear that people were excited about the future of Windows, and today we're going to experience what it would have been like to purchase this Packard Bell machine brand new in 1996 by restoring it to factory settings. I'll be taking you through the entire process, and we'll talk a bit about Windows 95 along the way. Let's get started. Alright, so here we are in front of the $5 Packard Bell Legend, and we're just going to jump right into it. So what I've got is on this CD right here, we have a copy of the Packard Bell Master Restore CD. This version is from late 1996. So Packard Bell, at least as far as I can tell, didn't have specific restore CDs for every one of their computers. So there was not one specific for the Legend 3540. This is just a Packard Bell Restore CD from late 1996 that I assume could be used on many different Packard Bell models. So this may or may not be the original one that came with this computer, but it will install Windows 95, that's what is on here, and hopefully it will install all of the software that is contained on that sticker on the top here. We also have our boot disk right here, which we have to use to boot off of this. We're going to pop in this floppy diskette right here, turn on the computer, and we're going to get started with it. So you can see on this screen right here, it says Windows 95 Master Restore Diskette version 2.8W. That is the version of the Packard Bell Restore diskette. And once it loads all the drivers, it will ask us right here to insert the master CD. So we're going to do that right now. I'm going to pop in the master CD, and we're going to press a key to continue. And here we go. So here is the Packard Bell Master CD System Diagnostics. So what we're going to do is choose option number 2, which is Fix and Restore Your System. And then from here, we're going to choose option 1, which is Format and Restore Your Hard Disk. And it says over here, select Format and Restore Your Hard Disk to restore your system's hard disk drive to its original factory configuration. Warning, you'll lose any software changes that you have made on your system, which is exactly what we want to do, since we want to revert this system back to Windows 95. If you didn't see the last video, it's currently running Windows 98. So this is definitely what we want to do. So it's going to ask us once again, are you sure you want to proceed? Yes, we do. So it said very briefly there, it said format not supported on drive C, and right now it's apparently not able to open a lot of these files because it's just skipping all these files, which is definitely what we don't want this to happen. Yeah, this definitely does not look normal because it should be able to copy these files. It's saying that, yeah, can't make directory. It's just like for all of these files. And it looks like it's copying Navigator files right now. You see the nav folder, and it's copying WAV files. So I guess the way that Windows 98 has the hard disk configured, it's not allowing this program to see the hard drive, or maybe it can see the hard drive, but it says format not supported, and then it's not able to copy anything over to it because it literally says can't make directory, can't open. It's just doing this for all these files. So what I'm going to do is I've got a copy of Microsoft DOS 6.22 right here. I'm going to reinstall this, which we can format the hard drive using this. That'll create a DOS partition that it should be able to recognize, and then we'll just go through with that. So I'll be right back once this computer has MS-DOS 6.22 installed. Alright, well, good news everybody, that worked. I was able to install Microsoft DOS 6.22, which obviously formatted the hard drive, and now I've booted back off of the Packard Bell Master Restore CD, and we're going through that same, we chose option 1, which is to reinstall Windows 95 and just restore the hard disk back to its factory state. And now, instead of giving us that error message and failing to copy all those files, it's now verifying the existing disk format. It's about 60 or it's about 70% complete now. So there we go. And we're just going to let it finish up here, and hopefully it'll be able to copy all those files over to the hard disk without any problems, and we'll be able to move on with the restore process. So we'll just let it finish up here. So what it's doing is it has a few archives that it has to extract. So that's essentially what it's doing right now. It's extracting a ton of files. It's done about, I think this is on its third or fourth archive right now, and it's actually copying these over to the C drive. So as it was going through, I saw references to CompuServe and Encarta, which are, I believe, I know CompuServe is mentioned on here. Encarta, I assume, would be the Microsoft Encarta Encyclopedia, which I don't see on the front here, although it might be included with this specific version of the restore CD. Alright, so we're back, and right now it's asking us for the hard drive format number, which I don't have because I don't have the system credentials sheet. So I wasn't able to find the format number for the Legend 3540. I was able to find one for the Legend 3550 thanks to Billy Core's Packard Bell Planet Wiki. And that number is 556036. So we're just going to try that and press enter. Now it says the proper format number for your system could not be found on the master CD. Would you like to restore a generic format? We'll say sure. And so it will just restore a, I guess, generic Packard Bell format that's not going to be specifically tailored to this system. So I'm just going to let it copy these files, and I'll be back with you guys once we are at the next phase of the restore process. Alright, so that part of the restore process has completed. You see it says right here the restoration was successfully completed. We're going to click on OK, and now it's going to delete unneeded files. It'll take a few minutes, so we'll give it a few minutes. Okay, so now it asks us, it says to complete the Windows 95 installation process, please remove the CD and floppy disk from their drives. We'll go ahead and do that. So we'll pop out the CD here it is. We'll set that aside, and we'll do the same with the floppy disk. So we'll set both of them aside, and this will be the first time in probably a long time that this computer boots up into a Windows 95 installation, because yes, this was originally, when I got it, it was running Windows 98, although it originally shipped with Windows 95, which is why that I want to restore this back. And check this out. Congratulations on the purchase of your new Packard Bell computer. We are sure that it will meet your computing needs. Awesome. Press any key to continue. Thank you for choosing Packard Bell. Man, that is pretty awesome. Just like it's brand new. Like, this is what you would see if you were to purchase this back in 1996. Alright, so we get this error message right here. It apparently tried to find a file. You see it says file not found, and it says S3 video not found, error level is 0. And I tried restarting the computer and it does this exact same thing. So my guess is this is probably to do with the video driver, because it says S3 video. I'm going to go diagnose this really quick, and I'll be back hopefully with a solution. Alright, so unfortunately that did not solve the problem either, and we're actually on yet another version of the Master Restore CD. And you'll see that this time, unlike the original Restore CD that we use, we get to the same screen, although the text is not blue, and it doesn't say anything about bad command or file name or file not found. It tries to detect the S3 video card, and it says that it was not found, error level is 0. Now, I saw from a Billy Core video that where he was restoring one of his Packard Bells, it went through the same process, and it actually said error level is 0, S3 video card not found, but it immediately jumped to detecting the sound card. Now, this computer doesn't have a sound card, so maybe that is the issue. Maybe it's not able to go to that part of the hardware detection because it's not able to find one, although I would think it would say on the screen, like, sound card not found, and that shouldn't prevent Windows 95 from booting. So we're going to try something else. What I've got here is a Windows 95 boot diskette, which is not from Packard Bell. This is just a standard boot diskette. We're going to pop that in, restart the machine, and see if we can boot off of this and then just run Win from the C drive and see if we can boot into Windows 95. Although I don't even know if Windows 95 is completely set up on the hard disk, but we will see. Okay, so we're here booted off of the boot diskette. We're going to try to go to the C drive. do a directory listing. So we should have, oh, we do have a Windows folder. Okay, so can we just launch Win? Okay, so it's going to launch into the setup right now. Perfect. Okay, so it's saying, okay, VFAT device initialization failed. The device or resource required by VFAT is not present or is unavailable. It cannot continue loading. Well, that's wonderful. So yeah, this is turning into a real experience here, and honestly, it can be quite accurate if you were trying to, like, if you had purchased Windows 95 back in 1995 and you wanted to install it on your Windows 3.1 machine or upgrade Windows 3.1, you might run into problems with hardware compatibility and just it not wanting to install. I'm sure people ran into those problems, so this is probably quite accurate. Although we shouldn't be having these problems. I mean, it's kind of annoying. Like, we're trying to restore this to a Packard Bell provided restore disk. I mean, well, I've burned 4 of them now. I've used 4 different versions. I probably have like 2 hours worth of footage. I just don't have all of it in the final video because it's just me trying the same thing on multiple different versions of the restore disk. And they all lead to different outcomes, but they're all similar in the fact that they don't boot right into Windows 95. Alright, so I have an idea. What we're going to do is we are right now booting off of the Packard Bell restore floppy disk. We're going to boot off of the restore CD and get to that menu again, and we're going to choose the option to reinstall Windows 95. There is an option, it's actually option number 2. What that will do is install Windows 95. I don't think 95 is installed completely on the hard disk right now. It might be, but you see that it was getting that VFAT error when we were trying to load into Windows. So something could have gone wrong with the setup. During the restore process, it never showed me any Windows 95 setup prompts. It just restored the image from what was stored on the CD drive. So we're going to boot back into the CD here, and we're going to choose Fix and Restore Your System, and then reinstall Windows 95. We're going to try this. So we're going to press Enter to allow setup to perform a routine check on the system. This is going to load scan disk here. Now there's also that Fix Any Errors option. I believe it was number 3 that you guys probably saw. We can try that as well. I have done this off camera. Well, I have recorded the footage. It's just not going to be in the final video. I've done this same thing, going in and selecting install Windows 95 on, I believe, 3 or 4 of these restore disks now. And they all result in the same thing. What will happen is it will finish installing Windows 95, it'll restart, and then boot back to that same screen where it's trying to detect the hardware. So my idea is if we can edit autoexec.bat on the C drive to skip that, we can probably just load right into Windows 95 without having to detect the hardware. So here's our setup options. We're going to choose custom. Now there was a version of this restore disk that didn't even allow us to choose this. It just had it auto set for us, so it would just kind of skip past this. But since we can choose, we're going to choose custom. Now you'll see it has unknown user and unknown organization. That is because Packard Bell's put that in here for us. We're going to just do my name for the username, and the company is Packard Bell. We'll click on next. We are going to detect hardware devices. That's fine. It's not on this version of the restore disk, but on another version, when it successfully restored the image and booted off the hard disk and got to that hardware detection screen, it actually was able to get past the S3 video detection, although it said that it wasn't found. Then it said that sound card not found. It said it wasn't able to find a sound card. So, I mean, that would make sense because the factory sound card that came with this computer is not in it anymore. But I don't see why that would prevent the entire system from booting. It just hangs there on that screen. So I believe that modifying autoexec.bat will allow us to just skip that entirely. At least that's the plan. So we're going to install all these things. Why not? We'll just install Microsoft Network, Mail, and Fax. And we're going to check all of these things because we want to just get everything. We should have enough hard disk space for it. So yeah, we only need 35 megabytes, and we have 1,640 megabytes. I believe this is a 2 gig partition that MS-DOS created for us. So we're going to choose the computer name as 95 PC, and computer description, let's do the $5 Packard Bell. And we'll click on next. And this right here is the display driver that it's loaded for us. You can see there's nothing about sound in here. So we're just going to click on next. We don't want to create a startup disk. And we're going to begin copying files. This is about the third time I think that I've seen this screen. So yeah, I mean, this is what the Windows 95 setup looks like. For those of you who don't know, it's pretty cool, and it was definitely a major change visually from what was in Windows 3.1. And honestly, the last resort is if I can't get any of this to work, I'm just going to install a clean copy of Windows 95 that isn't from Packard Bell. Like, it's not the restore copy that they have stored on these restore disks. We're just going to try to install a retail copy of Windows 95. I do have one of those, and we'll just go from there. But that's the last resort. I do want to really try and get this restored to factory settings, like as this was when you purchased this in 1996. That's the goal of this whole video, and I think it just kind of makes this whole install process a little bit more special, and you can see kind of challenging because it's just not going as planned. I've had to try numerous different versions of these restore disks, and they've all not worked. So we're going to see if this idea that I have, if this works. If not, we'll try that repair option on the restore disk, and then if that doesn't work, we'll just go into installing a fresh install of Windows 95. Yeah, this is probably going to be a pretty long video, but hopefully you guys will enjoy that. I mean, we have to get it to at least 25 minutes, right? Because it's the 25th anniversary. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, it'd be cool if I can make this video exactly 25 minutes long. But we'll see how things go. But anyway, I'm going to let the computer install Windows 95, hopefully for the last time. And I'll come back once we are hopefully booting right in to Windows 95. Alright, so we finished the Windows 95 setup process. It was able to complete properly, and we are restarting the system right now. So we're going to see if we get to that same screen, which we do. Okay, so now that we have a copy of Windows 95 properly installed, we're going to boot off of the 95 boot disk once again. Again, this is not the copy from Packard Bell. And we're going to edit autoexec.bat. So ms-dos edit is on the A drive, which would make sense. So we are going to File, Open, and we're going to go over to the C drive, autoexec.bat. So this right here is what it's running. It's running this PI setup, and then it has this if command, if exist, hwdetect.exe, hwdetect. This is the hardware detection. So what we're going to do is we are going to go back. I think what we can do is just exit out of this. We'll go back to the C drive, and we will rename autoexec.bat to autoexec.old. So we have autoexec.old, and I think we should be able just to restart. And there we go. So we get to the please wait while setup updates your configuration files, and hopefully it will not give us that error that we got before. But we are booting off the hard drive right now. This is not off the floppy disk or the CD-ROM. And okay, we're importing some files, although it said cannot import. Oh, please. Oh my gosh, we got it. We finally got it. Here's Packard Bell Navigator. It's loading up. Oh, this is so great. Packard Bell Navigator loaded, then the Windows password prompt came up here. So this is where you have to type in your name that you want Windows to use. We'll just use Michael without a password. Not going to bother with that. And okay, we're finally getting into this next part of the setup. So that's all you had to do was just, and yeah, I didn't have to create a new autoexec.bat, by the way, because Windows 95 doesn't use it to load Windows 95. So I just renamed autoexec.bat to autoexec.old on the C drive, and that worked. So we're finally getting into this next part of the setup. It took like way too long to get here, although it's not going to be that long to you guys, because I think I've only got like 10 minutes of this footage in the video that I'm editing right now. But it's taken multiple hours across like a couple days now for this to just finally get to this point. So, okay, setup has finished configuring your system. You must restart your computer. Okay, we'll restart. So there you go, guys. If you're having a problem with the hardware detection phase, like when you try to restore a Packard Bell computer that you might have to the factory settings from the master restore disk, if you're getting that same problem that I got, just remove or rename the autoexec.bat file. And that worked for me, and hopefully it'll work for you. And here we are logged into Windows 95, so we're just going to click on close here. Now, Packard Bell Navigator does start up, although since it is a Windows program, Windows will load in the background. So here is the Packard Bell Navigator introduction screen. Now, there would be a narration going on in the background. Obviously, we don't have that because we don't have the sound properly configured. But essentially, you've got a couple of options here. You can press option 1 to just learn about Navigator. You can press, it just went away, which is okay. Well, option number 2 would have loaded Navigator, which I guess is what it did. And then option 3 would go straight into Microsoft Windows, which you can get to by clicking on this button up here. So this is Packard Bell Navigator, and if you've never used it before, it may look similar to Microsoft Bob because it's a similar concept. What you have is a room inside of a house with a bunch of different objects that correspond to Windows programs. You can change clock settings, which will just open up the Windows date and time properties. And yes, this clock up here will correspond to the actual time that Windows has. So if I change this, which it's not 3 o'clock p.m., it's like, we'll just set it to 12:04 p.m. So we'll have this here and watch that it'll change for us. So that's pretty cool, nice little touch there. This right here, the little Packard Bell laptop over here, it says quick access to task templates and computer functions. We can click on that, and this will open up the Packard Bell task jumper, which will give you various different tasks. And I think most of these are going to be Windows programs. So like we can click write a letter. We can double click on that. It'll open up Microsoft Works. So it's very similar to Microsoft Bob in the sense that it is essentially a launcher to launch Windows programs just in a more graphical way. And I guess we've got this media player that opened up here, which is interesting. We'll just set this off to the side here. So I can go down to games here. I could launch Hearts, for instance. It'll launch Microsoft Hearts. I could go to home electronics. Now I believe some of these, like turn on my computer TV. This is something that I guess we didn't install. This is a Packard Bell program as well. But yeah, so it just kind of functions very similar to Microsoft Bob in that it just launches programs. At least it gives you the ability to launch Windows programs right from Packard Bell Navigator. But we'll go ahead and click on this Windows flag up here, which will exit out to the Windows interface. So we'll just click on OK. And here we are at the Windows 95 desktop. So we're going to close out of this program here. You see, we do have a couple of Packard Bell programs. We've got Packard Bell Internet Mail, Packard Bell Navigator, Packard Bell News Browser, Packard Bell Web Browser, and Voice View Talk Setup. We've also got Prodigy. It appears to not have installed CompuServe. Let's just verify that here. Multimedia application. So we do have, there are a lot of, you can see that most of these do require the CD. These are some of the multimedia programs that Packard Bell had, and see there is Microsoft Encarta 96, which is pretty cool. These are Microsoft applications. It does install Microsoft Works and Microsoft Money, which are not normally installed with Windows 95. Games, we actually have, in addition to the standard Windows 95 games, we do have some games from the Microsoft Entertainment Packs, which I did a retrospective video on here if you want to check it out up in the cards. So yes, we do have Chess, Dr. Blackjack, Free Cell, Fuji Golf, Jigsaw, Life Genesis, Minesweeper, although Minesweeper comes with Windows 95, Rattler Race, Rodent's Revenge, and Ski Fury, which is, yeah, it's pretty awesome that these come with, like, that these would have come pre-installed on a Packard Bell computer. And again, this is the generic restore image that we use. This is not tied to this specific computer. So I assume these games would have come with every Packard Bell computer released around this time. So we can close out of this here. Now, it doesn't appear that we have CompuServe. I was in here to verify that. Communication. Okay, so we do have CompuServe sign up. There's just not a shortcut on the desktop. So we do have Packard Bell Navigator, direct internet access. I'm just reading the stuff off the tag here. We have a popular selection of software, Windows 95. We've got Prodigy, America Online, and CompuServe. And 1 year of on-site service. Obviously, we don't have that anymore, but this would have come with 1 year of on-site service. And yeah, that is all the software that is contained on the front sticker here, like physically on the computer. So it does, this generic restored image does have all the software that this computer would have come with, which is pretty cool. So yeah, definitely there's just a lot of stuff in here. We also have Quicken as well, Quicken Special Edition. We can go into My Computer here. I'm interested in seeing how much space that we're taking up on the C drive. So we're using exactly a quarter, at least that's, yeah, exactly 500 megabytes of the 2 gigabytes I mean, it says 1.99 gigabytes, but it's a 2 gig partition, so we've got 1.5 gigabytes free. So that actually worked out pretty well. Yeah, exactly 1/4 of the disk is being taken up. We can also right click on my computer and go to properties, and here is our system properties, and you'll see that we do have the Packard Bell like computer information down here. We can click on support information, and here is your hardware and software support phone numbers. We don't have a Packard Bell logo or graphic over here, which is kind of disappointing, but it's good that we've got the support information. Obviously, we've got the info that we entered during Windows 95 setup right here, so that's our name and organization name. And let's go into control panel here, because we may be able to change, like let's go to display, and we'll go to settings. I think we can bump this up. Okay, 800 by 600, can we do that? Oh, we have to specify a monitor. Okay, so we're just going to go with a Super VGA 800 by 600, and we'll apply. And there we go. So we're running at 800 by 600 right now. That's a pretty good resolution for these videos, so we'll stick with that. And we'll rearrange these icons by name. There we go. So yeah, guys, there you have it. This is awesome. We finally have this computer, this Packard Bell Legend 3540, restored to factory settings. It definitely took much longer than I thought. But hey, we got it done, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Be sure to get subscribed down below and turn on those channel notifications if you haven't already to get notified whenever I upload a new video, which I do every single week, multiple times per week on this channel. I obviously want to wish Windows 95 a happy 25th anniversary, and it's just pretty awesome that we can take a look at this 25 years later in 2020. If you guys want to see any future videos, future tech experiments on this computer, now that we have a Windows 95 era computer in the MJD studio, be sure to let me know. I've got a couple of, actually I can show you a video that I've got planned coming pretty soon, and that is going to be a video on Corel Draw, which I purchased this software recently from a thrift store. It actually cost me $5, which is the amount of money I paid for this computer, which is kind of funny to think about. But the interesting thing about this is it is still sealed. You can see, I mean, the shrink wrap is a little bit broken there, but it has never been opened before, and we're going to be opening it on video for the first time and installing it on this computer. This computer is a little bit newer than this software. This was designed for Windows 3.1, but it's still pretty close, so I think it's going to make a pretty fun video. So if you guys want to see that, I mean, well, it's going to happen anyway, but if you really want to see it, be sure to let me know down in the comments. And as always, guys, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.